Hi, good night everyone, Richard Wong here. So today we are going to have a look at the latest mirrorless camera from Leica. This is the Leica CL. So the rangefinder style body, the design is very minimal and it looks very similar to a lot of Leica cameras. If you look at the back, then there are only 3 buttons on this side and then the directional pad on the other side, and then other than that it's just the touch screen and in electronic viewfinder. If you look at the top, then there are only 2 dials, a little LCD screen, and then the shutter buttons. I really like the right half of the body, the top body design, the twin dial that is got the integrated button at the middle. When I saw it, I thought, oh, that looks very cool and very clever. And when I use it, I also found it's very intuitive, and it just take me, I don't know, a few times to learn how to use it, and then after that I just find it's very intuitive to have it like this, and it really simplify the design of the top of the camera. They are not like dozens of buttons everywhere. Now however, this side, the left side, or from the back is left side, the top of the camera, I'm not entirely sure whether I like it or not. I'm talking about the EVF and the hot shoe hump that extrude above the body. I understand that is to pay tribute to the original Leica camera. They look quite similar, but I feel the original Leica camera, because it's got a more raw metal design, that style, that look, that works better with all those extruded bits and pieces. With the Leica CL, because it's a much more modern design, and you know, with the black paint and so the extruded bits and pieces doesn't work as well in comparison. Having said that, the more I use and look at the camera, I think the design start to grow on me. So maybe after a few more weeks, then I will actually be quite like this design. But right now I'm still a bit uncertain about whether I like it or not. So there's the lens mount release button at the front, and then at the bottom you have the battery door, which is also where you put the memory card in. And apart from that, then there's no other input output port. There's no HDMI, there's no USB, and there's no other mic and all earphone jack, all those things. So it's very minimal design. But there's Wi-Fi connection, so if you want to transfer photos to your phone, then you can do it easily through the Wi-Fi connection. The build quality of the Leica CL is very good, as you expect from a premium Leica camera. But I do feel the bigger SL, M, or even Q has a better, stronger build quality, which is probably understandable because they are more expensive and bigger camera. But having said that, the build quality of the Leica SL is still very good. The menu system of the Leica CL is quite well designed. It's not too complicated, and it's quite simple, so it's quite easy to get used to. The customization menu, it does take me a little bit of time to learn how to use it and set up the camera, but once I figured out how to use it and get it set up, then it's also very easy and very handy. As you can see, the body is pretty flat. There's no extruded grid at the front, and the back there's no extra grip for the thumb. With a smaller lens, for example this 23mm lens or the 18mm pancake lens attached to the camera, then you can easily shoot it with just single hand like this. But if you want to use a bigger lens, for example this 55-135 zoom lens, then I think it would be a good idea to get the optional thumb support accessory, which is attached to the hot shoe mount. That will give you a bit more support and just feel more balance. One of the biggest difference between the CL and the TL camera is that the CL has a built-in 2.36 million dot electronic viewfinder right here. So while the electronic viewfinder is not really the biggest or the highest resolution in the market right now, but it's still very decent. The resolution is still very good, and there's not much lag at all. So the CL uses a contrast detection based autofocus system. While the autofocus performance is probably not as fast as the Panasonic DFD system, and it does struggle a little bit when you're shooting under very low light. But when I'm using it in real life, especially with a faster lens, like for example this one 23mm Summicron, I don't have much issue. You can enable the touch screen autofocus feature, and it works quite well. Now, one thing I want to mention is if you enable the touchscreen autofocus, and suddenly if you want to use the electronic viewfinder to compose the photos, so when you bring the camera to your eye, the directional pad cannot be used to change the autofocus point because you enable the touch screen autofocus, but at the same time the touch screen will also disable because you are using the electronic viewfinder to compose. So that means at that time you cannot adjust your autofocus point at all. So you have to either move the camera away from your face and then reselect the autofocus point, or you have to change it back and disable the touch AF mode and switch back to the normal, for example the single point focus mode, and then you can use the direction pad to change your autofocus point. So this is slightly annoying, especially if you like regularly switch between the touch screen and the EVF all the time. Hopefully Leica can address that in a future firmware update, because this is just somewhere completely software. So the camera has a maximum burst speed of 10 frames per second. That is really fast for a little compact camera like this. So you can definitely use it to capture a little bit of action. One thing I noticed is the mechanical shutter is actually not very quiet. Let me take a photo. It's not super loud, but it's definitely a lot louder than the say the Leica M camera, which has very quiet, silent shutter. And a few times when I'm doing street photography on the street, people did actually notice me because they heard the shutter sound. So what I did is, okay, I just changed it to the electronic shutter, and that works pretty well for me. The camera has a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, and I'm pretty impressed by the image quality from the APS-C sensor. The color, the dynamic range are all very good. The JPEG straight out of the camera is also very nice color and with good details. Of course, if you want to have the best quality photo, then you shoot in RAW and then you do the post-processing yourself. The high ISO performance is also very good. I would say at ISO 6400 it's very good. At ISO 25,000, then you notice the contrast start to drop a little bit and the noise become quite more obvious. But I would still be happy to use the image if I have to shoot under low light. Now the maximum ISO 50,000, I think that's probably just for emergency use only, because the contrast drop quite a bit and there's quite a bit more noise, and you also see a little bit of bending in the photo. All the TL lenses I tried deliver very good image quality from center to corner. I do notice that none of the TL lenses has optical image stabilizer built in, and also the Leica CL camera, it doesn't have a in-body stabilizer, so this is a little bit unusual. So maybe it's just the fact that Leica photographer have more steady hand compared to the photographer using other brand cameras. The CL can also capture video, and it can capture 4K video at 30 frames per second, so that is pretty nice, and it can also shoot 1080p at higher frame rate. The video quality from the CL is pretty decent, color, details, everything is pretty good. But because it doesn't have any mic input and it only has very limited video settings that you can control and adjust, so I don't think any professional videographer would be buying this as their main camera. Now I know a lot of people would ask, given the relationship between Panasonic and Leica, so is this CL is a Panasonic camera with the Leica logo on top? Of course I don't know the answer, but if you look at the label, it says the camera is made in Germany. And if you look at the design of the camera, it is very Leica. Look at the dial and everything, it is very Leica, and I'm pretty sure you won't find a Panasonic CL camera for sale in the future. But having said that, it uses the same battery as the Leica Q, and I just noticed it's actually the same battery as my Panasonic G85. I can actually swap the battery or the charger between the two cameras. So there is definitely some Panasonic technology inside the camera. I heard some people call this one a mini Leica M, and personally I don't agree with it. So while it may look like a Leica rangefinder camera, the M and the CL are two completely opposite camera. The M series camera is fundamentally still the same as how it was when it was introduced back in 1954. So it's very traditional kind of camera and not really suitable for everyone. And so Leica created all this new camera. So we have the Leica SL, which is the biggest full frame Leica mirrorless camera. Very good quality, very solidly built, but it's also very big and heavy. And on the other hand, we have the Leica TL, which is a lot smaller and it has a huge touchscreen at the back, and you can use it to shoot photo easily using the touchscreen interface just like your smartphone. So now in the middle we have the new Leica CL, which is somewhere between the SL and the TL. It is in some way is closer to the SL because it has the electronic viewfinder designed for you to manually control all the settings if you want to, but at the same time it's a lot smaller like the TL, and it still has the touchscreen interface and it's a lot easier to carry around. So with the SL, CL and the TL, so Leica has the whole lineup of the new generation mirrorless camera that covers from professional to amateur and advanced shooter. And I would say the Leica CL is probably the most versatile camera from Leica right now. It has autofocus, it can do 4K video, it can take the new TL lenses and also the bigger SL lenses natively, and if you want you can mount the Leica M and R lenses onto it as well using an adapter. And then it's very compact, so you can easily fit it with 2 or 3 more lenses in the very small camera bag easily. So the CL will be the perfect travel camera if you are a Leica shooter, because you can easily carry around with a couple of lenses in your small camera bag. If you already has a SL camera or M camera, then the CL would be a pretty good everyday camera because it's quite a bit smaller in size. You can still use your other lenses, and it has autofocus and things, so it will be better for a lot of everyday photo. As much as I enjoy shooting with my Leica M camera, to be honest, manual focus is really not suitable for everyone and also not suitable for every type of photo. For example, one of the evening I was walking around with the CL taking photo on the street, and when I was at the intersection, there was a couple, they saw me taking photo and they suddenly start waving to me and posing for me to take photo, and at the same time they are walking away from me. It was quite dark already, so I was shooting at the maximum aperture 1.4 with my 35mm lens, and so when I saw them waving to me, I just quickly point the camera to them and then snap the photo, and this is the photo I got. If I was shooting with my Leica M, then I probably wouldn't be able to take that photo because I wouldn't be able to manual focus fast enough and accurate enough, especially I was shooting at f1.4. So the autofocus on the CL definitely make it a much more versatile camera for everyday use. So I hope you enjoyed this review. You can go to my blog and there are more sample photos I took using the CL. If you like this review, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I really appreciate that. And I will see you next time. Good luck everyone.